Hey y'all, it's Megan, and today we are sewing up the Winnie pattern. I'm going to be using the mid-rise waist. There's also a high rise, and then I'm going to be doing this fitted waistband with a drawstring. There's also a elastic waist with a drawstring, and there are pant options and a crop option, pockets, fitted waistband with no drawstring. And this does come in youth, which these are all my nieces, and then adult sizing as well. I'm going to throw these on real quick so you can see what they look like. And here they are on. All of the options are going to have the front pin tucks on each leg. And then again, this is the mid-rise option. There's also a high rise, so if you wanted to cover your belly button. And then there are several other waistbands to choose from and links. You can use a lot of different fabrics. What I'm using here is a cotton French terry, which is my favorite. It has a lot of spandex in it still, so it's going to hold its shape. You can also use something like a nylon ponte. Again, it has a really good stretch. And this is going to look a little dressier if you're looking more for like a work pant. And then you can use different sweater knits. And this would be really, really fun for some lounge pants. So again, you have the pant length, the crop length, and then the shorts. And these are the 3-inch inseam. There's also a 4.5-inch inseam if you want them a little longer. And then you have the optional pockets. If you want to see how to sew these so you can sew your own, then just keep watching. This is a full sew through. It goes through every step. So let's get started. The first step is going to be to cut your pieces out. You're going to need 2 front pieces, mirror images, and you're going to want to mark the front fold line on each side. So I've used chalk, you can use a fabric pen, and then also cut your little snips at the hemline and the top. That's just going to help you later when we do the pin tucks. You're also going to need 2 back pieces, cut mirror image, and this is the fitted waistband. The adult will need 2 waistband pieces cut on the fold, and the youth will just use 1 piece cut on the fold. And then again, you're going to mark the drawstring casing and the buttonhole or grommet. And then you need 1 drawstring. You can also use drawstring cording if you have that on hand. The first step is going to be to press and prep your pin tuck. So you're going to match those snips together and fold your piece wrong sides together all along that front marked line. And then you need to press this. You want this to have a nice crease, so I like to use either Best Press or some spray starch when I'm pressing to make sure that it holds its shape. And when you're pressing, make sure to use up and down motions. Do not pull your iron along the fabric. Depending on what kind of fabric you're using, you might accidentally be stretching your fabric out. So again, all along that line, use up and down motions to press your pin tuck fold. And then you're going to take it to your sewing machine and we're going to lengthen. You can either use a straight stitch or you can use a triple stitch, and you're going to want to lengthen either one of those that you use to like a 3 to a 3.5. And then you're going to sew a 1/4 inch from that fold line to create the pin tuck. So from the top to the bottom, just sew a 1/4 inch from the marked folded line. You're going to do this to each leg, and then you're going to take it back to your iron, and using up and down motions, you are going to press the pin tuck toward the side seam. So you're going to do this on each leg, and then once you have it pressed, you're going to take it back to your sewing machine, and you're just going to add little basting stitches along the top and the bottom to hold the pin tuck in place while we construct the rest of the pants. Next, it's time to sew the side seam. So you will take 1 front piece and 1 back piece and put them right sides together. I like to start by pinning at the bottom hemline and then pin them together at the top and then pin the rest of the way. And then you're going to stitch these together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and that will create your side seam. After I sew the side seam, I'm going to take it to my iron, and I'm going to go ahead and pre-press the hem. So just press the bottom hem line a 1/2 inch toward the wrong side all along the bottom. I like to do this so I don't have to try to press the hem in the round. This is a lot easier, especially if you're doing a smaller youth size. It makes it a little bit more difficult to press the hem in the round. And once I have that pressed, I will unpress it and match the pieces together at the inseam. So from the crotch all the way bottom to the hemline, and I will sew it together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then you can hem, or I'm going to wait and try them on, and I'm going to go ahead and sew the crotch seam. So you're going to have one leg right side out and one leg wrong side out, and you're going to put the right side out leg into the other. So they are right sides together, and I'm going to align the raw edges and the inseam and the top of the back crotch and the top of the front crotch, and just pin them together all along that crotch curve. And then I'm going to take it to my machine, and I'm going to sew them together from the back crotch to the front crotch with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then after it is sewn together, I'm going to go ahead and pull them right side out, and you can go ahead and set the shorts aside while we start to work on the waistband. First, you're going to want to place a small strip of fusible lightweight knit interfacing on the wrong side of your waistband piece, right where the grommet or buttonhole is going to go. Now you can add your grommets or your buttonhole, and if you want to, you can actually just use, you can just cut a little hole if you don't have any grommets on hand or you don't feel like making a buttonhole. You can just cut little snips. Just make sure whatever you're using, grommets, buttonhole, little snips, that you're making those between the casing lines so that your drawstring will fit. And then you're going to take your 2 waistband pieces, put them right sides together, make sure that your drawstring markings are together, and you're going to pin them along the 2 short sides, and then you're going to take it to your machine, and you're going to sew them together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side of the waistband. Then you're just going to take your waistband piece and fold it wrong sides together, and then it's time to stitch your drawstring casing. So I'm going to take it to my machine, and using either a longer straight stitch or a longer triple stitch, you're going to sew all around the waistband on the drawstring markings. So there's 2 markings, so you're going to sew twice all the way around. If your waist is smaller than your hips, I definitely suggest using the triple stitch, the longer triple stitch, so that this still stretches when you are putting the waistband over your hips. Then once this is sewn, you can set it aside for just a moment, and I'm going to make my drawstring real quick. So I'm going to take my drawstring piece, and I am going to fold it in half, wrong sides together, and I'm going to stitch all along the long side with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then once your piece is stitched, I'm going to use a little knit picker, and I'm going to just take my serger tails and tuck them so that this doesn't unravel as I wear it. And then I'm going to use a small safety pin, or you can use whatever turning tool is your favorite, to turn the drawstring right side out. There's not really any trick to this. You do just kind of have to take your time and turn this right side out. And then I'm going to quickly take it to my ironing board and give it a nice press. Then it's time to thread your drawstring. So you're going to have to use a small safety pin or drawstring threader to get it through your grommet. So as I was doing this, my grommet fell out. I unpicked the entire casing, re-put grommets in, and then it fell out again. So I ended up just not using the grommets and just use the little holes that I cut with the grommet tool. And then I threaded my drawstring all the way through. Again, this is just going to take some time pulling the drawstring through and moving the fabric so that your drawstring will be even. Once you have your drawstring threaded, then you are going to quarter your waistband, and then you're also going to quarter the top of your pants. And then you are going to flip your waistband wrong side out, and you're going to put it over your pants, and you are going to pin or clip them together at the quarter points, making sure that the raw edges are aligning. And then I like to go ahead and also pin them at the 8, so I just find the center of the quarter points like this and pin them together. And then you're going to take it to your machine and you're going to stretch the waistband to fit the top of the pants. And we're going to stitch them together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once you have the waistband stitched on, then you can take it to your iron and give it a nice press. I like to simply just press the waistband seam down toward the pant. Then I'm going to go ahead and edge stitch along the hem I pre-pressed earlier. So you can use a cover stitch machine, or I didn't have enough pink serger cones, so I'm using my sewing machine and a longer triple stitch just to edge stitch that 1/2 inch hem allowance in place. Then after you try them on, decide if you want to cut any of the drawstring off or not. And you're going to want to finish the ends of your drawstring. You can either just fold a quarter to a 1/2 inch up and edge stitch it. You can tie a knot, or you can use those cute little decorative drawstring ends to add on there, however you want to do it. And then your Winnie pattern is complete. If you sew a pair, I would love to see them posted in our Facebook group or on Instagram, #MadeForMermaidsPatterns. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below and I will try to answer. If you want to see the other Winnie Sew-Through videos, I will link them down below. Bye!